What's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into a mailbag here, where it is me and you guys chopping it up about the Minnesota Vikings and my guy Ham Boynan. Starting it off here with the first question, saying, "Do we trade Addison to the Dolphins and try to get Achane?" Interesting idea, I will say. Would I do this trade, Addison for Devon Achane? I would probably. Oh, man. I mean, I don't know why the Dolphins would do it unless they're trying to get another wide receiver next to Jalen Waddle, assuming they're going to cut Tyreek Hill. But this trade's interesting. I probably would, actually. I probably would do this deal. Achane's a hell of a player. I think it would take some pressure off Jefferson. I don't know if this would be an easy, yes, I would do this trade for me, but this is an interesting idea. I don't know if the Dolphins would have too much interest in this either. But I would probably lean yes to this trade idea. That's an interesting one, Hemboyne. Appreciate you. Corey Miller saying, "What are your views on Indiana receiver Elijah Surratt? I think he'd be good Addison replacement." It's funny you bring him up. I've been raving about this guy since probably October. Elijah Surratt's an absolute dog. I think he's going to end up going in the first round. I think he really does remind me of kind of like a Keenan Allen. I don't know if it's just because he's a light skin with tattoos wearing number 13, but he does kind of remind me of Keenan Allen. He's a really savvy route runner. Obviously, him and Mendoza had that great connection with those back shoulder throws with the Hoosiers this past season. I don't know if the Vikings are in a spot to get him. Like, if he somehow falls to pick 49 and you do trade Addison, like, yeah, I would have a lot of interest in it, no doubt about it. But, yeah, Elijah Surratt, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where he also ends up going in the draft. Like, it'll probably be late first, early second. But if the Vikings could somehow get him, or they had a bigger need at receiver, I would be all over it. Physical guy, too, a willing blocker. He also just feels like a veteran when he's out there, so I would be all over it. Elijah Surratt's going to be a dog in the National Football League. Big Diesel, what's going on? Saying, "Would you like to see Harrison Smith turn his football IQ into being a DB coach under Flores?" Yeah, I would absolutely love that. I just don't think that's going to be Harrison Smith calling after football. I think Harry's going to want to go spend time with his family, kind of go away for a couple of years. I don't think we'll see him in the media. I don't think we'll see him, doing anything content-wise or anything around football. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm just picking up on his personality a little bit. But I will say, I wonder with Brian Flores coming back, if this leaves the door open for Harrison Smith to return. I wonder if Harry's just itching. He's like, "Man, I had such a good year this past season. Maybe I try to run it back for one more year. Maybe the Vikings just keep that door open. Maybe at Thanksgiving he comes on back." I would love for him to return for the Vikings. He was still dominant. I mean, that game on Christmas he had, it looked like prime Harrison Smith out there. So, yeah, I would love him to be a DB coach. Don't think he would, but maybe that door is just slightly open of him returning to the Vikings, how Flores returning. Amanda, what's going on? Saying, "Do you think that the Vikings will trade J.J. McCarthy for a better quarterback?" I mean, if the option was available, and I think they would 100% consider it, but the only options that they would probably willingly trade McCarthy are like the Joe Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons, those like blockbuster, superstar quality quarterbacks. Like, I don't think they're trading J.J. McCarthy for a Mac Jones per se, or I don't know whoever else, would be out there. But I think if they do trade McCarthy, it's like a 110% superstar quarterback, and those two guys would have to be, Burrow or Lamar Jackson. Jack Bartley, 4292. What's going on? Saying, "Should Kevin O'Connell consider stepping down as a play caller?" Not yet, but I will say KOC's on the hot seat this upcoming year, at least in my eyes. I think the biggest reason the Vikings have been successful over the last 4 seasons, specifically the last 3, it's because of their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores. The last 2 years, 14-3, the Vikings had a middle of the pack offense, a top 5 defense. This past season, we had one of the worst offenses in the league, a top 5 defense. You go 9-8. So, I know everybody likes to say, how could you ever say Kevin O'Connell's on the hot seat? Look at his record. He went 9-8 with J.J. McCarthy and Max Brosmer. That 9-8 record with those two quarterbacks, that's not a Kevin O'Connell stat. That is a Brian Flores stat. Stepping down as a play caller, I don't know. Like, I don't know if KOC is like that CEO style of head coach. I don't think he should, but if he ever does, I think like we should be hitting the panic alarm as Vikings fans. That would not be good news for his future as a Vikings head coach. But let me ask you guys this. Go back in time, think about this past season, think about any game. What is your favorite game all time as a fan of the Minnesota Vikings? Like one singular game. I got a couple. 2009 Vikings Cowboys, when the Vikings and Brett Favre absolutely blasted Dallas in Minnesota. The Minneapolis Miracle games up there. The game in New Orleans when the Vikings were 9-point underdogs. Kirk Cousins got his first playoff win. The Kyle Rudolph push-off game. That one's good too. Trying to think of some more that I just randomly loved. The 33-0 comeback was awesome. Another game in Buffalo with Josh Allen fumbling the QB sneak to end the game. The first miracle game with Brett Favre against the 49ers. Greg Lewis in the back of the end zone. That was a great game. Trying to think of like another random regular season game that was just absolutely awesome. A random one was Vikings Giants on a Monday night way back in the day. It was Xavier Rhodes versus OBJ. I love that one. AP's record-breaking game. That was a good one. The one game where the Minnesota Vikings obliterated the Washington Commanders. Coming in the live chat. Yeah, the 33-0 comeback. That was a great one. Or even the comeback against the Denver Broncos. I think it was like 20-0 at halftime as well. That was a good one. But hey, you guys chime in down below. What is your favorite Vikings game of all time? All right, now we'll get to more questions here in a second, but let me tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now, if you guys head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off and use promo code VikingsChat50off, we'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the new year's here, which means you guys probably got some pretty big goals, and if you guys don't have any time to cook, well, Factor makes it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs, so you can eat well without all the shopping or cooking. Oh, I love Factor because they have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. I love some of their options out there. The blackened salmon is really good. They got over 100 rotating weekly meals. These options include high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, and ready-to-eat salads. They're always fresh, never frozen. So if you guys could, head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off and use promo code VikingsChat50off. Get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. We'll have this link for you guys in the comments section and description of today's show. Noah Adam, what's going on? Saying, do you think we will get Burrow? I don't, but if Burrow requests a trade, I mean, the Vikings would be at the top of his destination list. I'm really confident in that. Like, you have the good offensive play caller. You have an elite defense. You have good young offensive linemen. You obviously got his college teammate, Justin Jefferson. So do I think a trade request is coming this offseason? I do not. But, man, if he ever becomes available, like the Vikings will be at the forefront of that. And I think this offseason, like Vikings fans, I think we just kind of have to sit and pray a little bit. Like a Lamar Jackson, a Joe Burrow, eventually request a trade. We should just hope so, and then maybe we'll end up in the purple and gold. Jacob Dong saying, I know how Caleb Downs played in college because I'm a Bama fan. Pat, I want your reaction to the Ravens head coach vacancy gone. Jesse Minter, if you guys don't know, did just take the Ravens head coaching job, which means only one more option out there for Brian Flores, that being the Pittsburgh Steelers. Looking like they're going to also hire Mike McCarthy, so one more, and the Vikings officially get that stamp of approval that they are keeping Brian Flores, which would be absolutely fantastic. That's awesome stuff. Shout out to Brian Flores for coming back to Minnesota. Eli, what's going on? Saying, is Caleb Downs better than Jay Love? Talking about Julian Love or Jeremiah Love? I'm assuming you're talking about Jeremiah Love. Yeah, I think he is. I think those two are the two best players in this year's draft class, though. Jeremiah Love's a hell of a prospect. Listen, if he falls to 18, I would really consider it if I was the Minnesota Vikings. Like, that would add another dynamic to this offense. But Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Love, probably leaning Downs. I just think Downs is like a generational player. Like, I think, like, I really believe this. I think he could be wearing a gold jacket one day. I think he's that talented, and I think if you would put him on this team and with Flores and everything they like to do, this defense goes to another level. Like, they're already a very, very good defense. They're potentially a great defense. You get Caleb Downs in here from day one, this could be an all-time great defense next season. I think that's what the Vikings need to lean into. You got Flores back. What's your bread and butter over the last 3 seasons? It's that defense. Lean into it. Go get him more dogs in that side of the field. And Caleb Downs, there's no better dog than the guy from Ohio State. The Grey Warden Harold coming in, what's going on, saying if the Vikings are offered either a first round or both a second and third round pick, should we accept? Talking about an Addison trade. Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to consider it. Second and third round picks, it depends like where in the draft they are. Like if a team like the Bills are offering their second and third, probably saying no. But if a team like the Bills is offering their first at pick number 26, maybe I'm saying yes to it. I don't know. I'm still against trading Jordan Addison. I really am. I understand all the off the field stuff. This guy's a dog, man. He's a hell of a football player. I think he'll eventually get his head on straight. So I will defend Addison for a pretty long time. I think he'll be all right. He's too good at football. Tristan coming in with $2 super chat. Appreciate you, Tristan. Says we keep Flores and hire him as head coach next year. Assuming Kevin O'Connell gets the boot after next season, I think Flores would be number 1 on my replacement list for Kevin O'Connell. I think if the Vikings don't win a playoff game this season, I think KOC's gone. And that's why that makes this quarterback conversation so interesting this offseason, because will the Vikings kind of go all out, try to get a guy? Will they ride out with J.J. McCarthy? Who the hell knows? But yeah, I mean, if the Vikings were to ever let go of Kevin O'Connell, I think Brian Flores would be number 1 on my list. Reed Southern, what's going on, man? Also, happy birthday to you as we're filming this. This is your birthday. What is our 2026 schedule will be like? We already know the opponents. You got, obviously, your 3 divisional opponents at home, and they got the Falcons at home, Panthers at home, Bills, Dolphins, Commanders, Colts. Then the road teams, you got 5 road games outside of the division: Saints, Buccaneers, Jets, Patriots, Niners. If I had to call, what are some primetime games? I think Vikings, Bears would be a primetime again. Vikings, Jets, no. Vikings, Saints, no. Buccaneers, no. Maybe Vikings, Patriots. Maybe Vikings, Niners. Maybe Vikings, Bills. I don't think the Vikings will have a lot of primetime games next season. If I had to call the opener, I think it's gonna be Vikings, Panthers. Vikings at home against Carolina at the noon window. That's all I'll call for the Vikings home opener next season. But hey, if you guys made it to that, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Give me a skull down below in the comments section. We'll get on out of here. As always, Skull Vikes.